That concludes question for oral answer. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Government Notice of Motion number 1 relating to an address to the Governor-General on appropriations for officers of Parliament.
Honourable Simon Bridges.
That a respectful address be presented to His Excellency the Governor-General, commending to His Excellency the alterations to the appropriations for the 2014-15 financial year in respect of Vote Ombudsman and the appropriations and information for the 2015-16 financial year in respect of Vote Audit, Vote Ombudsman and Vote Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment be adopted. This motion endorses the appropriations recommended by the Officers of Parliament Committee for the Office of the Controller and Auditor General, the Office of the Ombudsman and the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, and commends those appropriations to the Governor-General for inclusion as votes in upcoming supplementary and main appropriation bills. The Officers of Parliament are important bodies that play a critical role in supporting the work of this House and the general public. In order to maintain their independence, the Officers of Parliament are subject to a special process for the pre-budget approval of the appropriations for their officers. It is the Officers of Parliament Committee, chaired of course by you, Mr Speaker, that is responsible for this process. The Officers of Parliament Committee, in its report to the House, recommended modest alterations to the 2014-15 appropriations. For the 2015-16 appropriations, the Officers of Parliament Committee has recommended a number of changes. For Vote Audit, the Committee's recommendations include additional funding of $400,000 to improve the delivery of the Auditor-General's inquiry function, and additional funding of $180,000 to provide enhanced analysis capability. Inquiries carried out by the Office of the Controller and Auditor General can have a high degree of complexity. The Auditor General intends to make better use of information from its regular public sector audits through improved analysis for its inquiries and to report on a more timely basis. For Vote Ombudsman, the Committee's recommendations include capital injections and additional funding for 2015-16 and out years of $166,000 for proactive advice, training and guidance, $390,000 to enhance investigative capacity for inspections and monitoring under the Crimes of Torture Act and the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, $360,000 to provide the corporate services necessary to ensure the efficient running of the Ombudsman's investigation and monitoring role, $113,000 to improve the security of the Office's staff and information, and $340,000 to provide additional investigative capability and address complaints and improve responsiveness. For Vote Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, the Committee makes no recommendations for additional funding. It does, however, note in its report that it intends to review the Commissioner's baseline funding next year. This follows increases last year to cover the Commissioner's new review and commentary responsibilities under the Environmental Reporting Bill. Mr Speaker, I endorse and hope this House will too the Officers of Parliament Committee's recommendations for appropriations set out in its report to the House and commend them to the Governor-General for inclusion as votes in appropriation bills.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Chris Hipkin.